There are a total of 5 Need for Speed games on the PlayStation, and today I'm gonna rank all of them through a tier list. But before we start, number 1, this is my personal opinion and no one should get offended by it. Number 2, this is the PlayStation version of these games. People might say PC version is better or worse or whatever, but I'm talking about the PlayStation version, so you know. And number 3, people might even ask about Need for Speed V-Rally 1 or 2. I'm not gonna rank them, because they're rally games, not street racing games, so sorry. So at first, we have the Need for Speed. Well, you shouldn't expect so much from this game. Not only this is the first game in the franchise, but also it was made way back in 1994, which is almost 30 years old. My god. But for a PlayStation 1 game, it's great. Well, there are 4 game modes. Their names suggest what they are. A handful amount of tracks, you can change the lap count and the time of day. In this game you have 8 cars. Well, you cannot customize them or tune them, but that's okay for a PlayStation 1 game. When you race for the first time, you'll be greeted by, yes, interior camera, and every car has their own interior. Even though they look like PNG images stacked together, but nonetheless, it looks great to me. The physics are arcade-ish, but fun. The graphics are polygons, which I personally love. In my opinion, it's a solid game. It was good back then, and it's still good now. My only complaint is the AI in tournament mode is kinda broken, because they will be always one step ahead of you. Also, did I mention how good the music is? The more I play it, the more I fall in love with this game. You know what? Perfect, as things should be. Need for Speed 2. Now, this game is an upgrade in some ways and downgrade in some ways. Why? I'll explain it. This game has 3 game modes, which is sad. You still have 8 cars, but they're just totally different from the last game. This time you can color your car. You still have the handful amount of tracks and settings. The interior camera returns, which is good, but the screen shake is sometimes pretty awful. One big downgrade is the fact that there's no minimap. Which means if you're new to this game, you're gonna face a lot of trouble. Well, at least you can change the AI difficulty. The graphics look about the same as the last game. There's arcade and simulation physics. In simulation physics, cars are a bit harder to control. Overall, it's a good game, but it kinda failed to deliver that feeling the last game did. This game deserves the good class, not the good class. Well, next, Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Hot Pursuit, good game, cause it's Hot Pursuit. No, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna rate it properly. But to be honest, this game's pretty good. I'll say it's a huge upgrade from Need for Speed 2. This time you have 5 game modes, introducing Hot Pursuit mode. You still have the handful amount of tracks. This time you have more settings than the last games. You still have 8 cars. Some of them require you to play the tournament in order to get them. Again, you have the settings for physics and AI difficulty. Now, there's a bigger difference between arcade and simulation physics. In arcade physics, you can just use the handbrake to take corners, and it's actually more effective than using the brakes, which you cannot do in simulation physics. Overall, Hot Pursuit was a huge improvement in terms of graphics, physics, gameplay, everything you name it. This game deserves the good class. High stakes. You know what I love? When developers take everything good from their last game and make them even better while also adding new features. This is what they did with High Stakes. High Stakes is basically Hot Pursuit but made even better. You still have 5 game modes, but instead of a knockout mode, there's a special event mode where you can give an entry fee to enter. And by entrance fee, I mean yes, there's a currency system in this game. And in order to obtain them, you have to play the tournament mode. With this currency, you can enter special events, buy new cars, and even upgrade them. Speaking of cars, there's a lot of cars in this game, even higher than the last games combined. Now about the physics. It's kinda Hot Pursuit simulation physics, but kinda arcade-ish. The graphics are somewhat of an upgrade from Hot Pursuit. Overall, High Stakes was basically Hot Pursuit, but made better in every single way. This game goes to the good category.
Holy
finally, Porsche Unleashed. Well, Porsche Unleashed has a lot of stuff which I did not see it coming. There are 3 game modes, but in quick races there are 4 game modes, so there's a total of 6 game modes in this game. Well, the other 2 game modes besides quick race is factory driver and evolution. Evolution mode is basically career mode. On the other hand, factory driver mode is like a linear story mode where you're a driver in the Porsche company who sets records in some courses. This game mode is necessary if you want to unlock hidden cars in this game. The physics are arcade-ish, the graphics are great, but the draw distance can be horrible sometimes. My only complaints about this game are 1. The handling model is weird. It needs a lot of time to get used to it. My second complaint is, in Capture the Flag mode, the AI will always know where exactly the flag is and will always use the shortest route to that flag, which is kinda unfair. And number 3, there's no restart button in factory driver mode for some reason, which is kinda annoying. And that's it. That's all the complaints I have. And you wanna hear something surprising? Among all these Need for Speed games I've played, I enjoyed Porsche Unleashed the most. Because, yes, this game has issues, but when you get used to it, it's a blast. And not to mention how many cars this game has. Because, yes, they are all Porsche cars, but it's just uncountable. They may have taken a step back from street racing and focused on motorsports, but they did it pretty well. I'll place this game in the great tier. No, I'm not being biased or anything. I enjoyed this game the most. And besides, this is my personal opinion.
What is that? What is that?
So, looks like we've ranked every Need for Speed games on the PlayStation 1 except the V-Rallies. But the tier list kinda seems bland. Well, how do we fix this? I don't know, I'm pretty dumb for this